G'day everyone, this is Den and Spencer here today, coming to you live from our little motorhome. Today we are parked right smack bang in Kiama Harbour again, one of my favourite spots. It's a favourite little day stop for me. Alright, today we wanted to talk about motorhomes once again, buying versus renting and which option would work out best for you. Okay, so deciding whether to buy or rent a motorhome depends on your individual circumstances, preferences and how often you plan to use it. Each option has its own pros and cons, and let's explore both. Now we've had this motorhome for about 2 years now, or coming up to 2 years. Even though it did cost us quite a large sum of money initially, whenever we go away it usually costs us anywhere between $30 and $60 a night, compared to $250 a night for the average motel room. So we always jump at the chance to get away on the weekends. We've both got off together because it's so cheap and easy. Another advantage is the freedom and flexibility. You have the freedom to use the motorhome whenever you want it, without worrying about rental schedules or availability. I know before we got the motorhome I did consider renting a few, but every time I did a bit of research, and maybe I didn't give it enough time, but every time I tried to book something, they were booked out months in advance. So that made it quite tricky, and I imagine quite often you may not be able to get the size motorhome you want. I noticed that the little ones are quite popular and the bigger ones aren't. So yeah, it's a bit tricky trying to get exactly what you want when you want it. Another advantage is personalisation. As the owner, you can customise and modify the motorhome to suit your preferences and needs. I know with this particular little motorhome, we've got all our little comforts of home, all our folding camping chairs, all our favourite cooking utensils, air fryers, slow cookers. I've also installed a bike rack on the back and just sort of made it more comfortable for us. We've got sound bars on the TV, little DVD players, and just those all the little extras that you get when you've got your own one. Okay, so cons or disadvantages. There is a large upfront cost. The motorhome can be expensive to purchase and you'll need to consider an initial investment. I know this little motorhome is probably one of the smaller ones on the road. This, I think, in 2021 was $113,000, so it's quite a big upfront cost. So you definitely want to be using it. It also costs maintenance. As the owner, you'll be responsible for maintenance and repairs and other associated costs. Just to have this motorhome per year costs me around $4,000. And that's $1,200 for registration, another $1,200 for insurance, and I spend about $1,000 on servicing. Now, $600 of that is the truck part, which is the engine. That's oil changes and all the filter changes and all the necessary checks. And the other $400 is to the caravan side. I go into the Jayco agent, and he goes and gives everything a run through the stove, the fridge and all the other components, just to make sure they're all working well, and anything that needs servicing gets serviced. And yeah, every year, I'm up to my second year, it's cost me $600 for the motor side and another $400 for the caravan side of it. It's always good to have peace of mind. Okay, so renting a motorhome. Advantages, and I've just jotted these down, so I'm reading a bit. It is a lower upfront cost. Renting a motorhome requires a fraction of the initial investment compared to buying. As I've just mentioned before, we spend about $4,000 a year just to have this motorhome. So I think if you're going to rent a motorhome and you spend up to $4,000 a year in just rental costs, you're paying the same as what I am, and you don't have any of the worries or concerns that I do. Maintenance and repairs. When you're renting, the rental company takes care of any maintenance or repairs that needs doing. Anything that breaks or wears out, or if you break down, you just have to contact the rental company and they organise it to be repaired or fixed on site or get serviced on return. When you're renting, you do have the choice of variety. Renting allows you to choose different models and sizes depending on your needs, and that is another thing, and it's a pretty well-known fact. If you are looking at buying a motorhome, and you don't know which one to get, it is a great idea to rent all different shapes and sizes and see which one works best for you. I know for me, we didn't rent, and I know that I would have loved some of the bigger ones, but that wasn't a real good plan for me, because I probably would have fell in love with a bigger one, and they do go up in price quite a bit. For every metre longer, they seem to jump up 50 grand or so, so you are paying a lot of money for these bigger motorhomes. So lucky I just bought a small one because that was all the budget would allow. When you rent, there's less commitment. Renting, you're not committed to it. You can try it. If you don't like it, there's no big deal. Or you might think, you know what, that motorhome I thought was good, but it's too small. We don't want a bed like this one that drops down from the ceiling. We want a motorhome with a bed or a bigger kitchen or bigger lounge area or smaller, bigger, four-wheel drive, whatever. At least you get to try before you buy. Okay, so now there's the cons of renting, or the disadvantages. Reoccurring expenses. Rental costs can add up, especially for frequent travellers. Now, I know I was quite surprised, and I know there's a lot of different companies out there, and I won't go through each one, but naturally winter is cheaper to rent a motorhome than summer. But to my surprise, just in the shoulder season, this little motorhome, this is my little RM 20.5. It's a nice little basic motorhome. This was renting for about $250 a day, so it doesn't take long, 10 days, $2,500 to clock up those costs. So if you are renting, and you're renting them a lot, I think you're actually probably better off buying. Just to compare the costs, now as I said, this little guy cost us $113,000 in 2021 November. In 2022, they'd gone up to just over 120. I think they were 121,900, and now I'm seeing the newer models, the 2023 models, up for $132,000. So even though I'm spending $4,000 a year on this little motorhome, I've noticed now people are starting to sell this particular model, the 2021 model, and they're getting around $125,000 from, because brand new, they're $132,000, and a lot of people have done exactly that. They've bought them, they've travelled for a year, and then sold them again. I think they've weighed up the costs, and naturally buying one, keeping it for 12 months and reselling it has worked out much more profitable for those people than trying to rent one for a year. Yeah, so I'd say I could have bought this, or did buy this, for 113. I could sell this today, I think, for around 125. So I would have actually made $12,000 and still had a year's holiday in this little van. But fortunately for me, I don't want to sell it. I'm very happy with it. I think you'll see me as a very, very old fella still making these nerdy videos in 5, 10, 20 years down the track with my very old puppy. Now, other things to consider, as I've probably touched on just there, is frequency of use. If you plan to use a motorhome frequently, multiple times a year, owning one, as I said, I think would be much more beneficial than renting one. Once you go over about that 4-week period of renting, I think you are better off buying and then reselling it. And I know it is a large sum of money to borrow or withdraw, but as I just mentioned before, if we had done a year away trip in this, I think I've done about 15,000 kilometres, we could sell this now for $12,000 more than we paid for it. But I think if you were renting a motorhome, I don't know if you could rent one for 12 months, you'd be looking at paying out thousands of dollars over that same time. Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as you think it is buying. And I've actually jotted this point down earlier on, but I've already touched on it. Resale value. Consider the potential resale value of the motorhome if you plan to sell it in the future. Maybe it's just the common market, but the last 4 years, as I mentioned, they've gone up every year. So even if you had a motorhome for 2 years, it's almost a guaranteed certainty that you can sell it for more than you paid for it. So, for the first time in my life, I think I've made the right decision buying this little motorhome, even though we were scared. I've never bought anything new in my life, and we bought this little motorhome November 2021, and I remember driving out of the car yard thinking, what the hell have I done? The dearest car I've ever bought was 20 grand. That was a 10-year-old Pajero. Yeah, so we drove out of the Jayco dealership at Nowra, and I thought, oh, what have I done? I feel sick. But now, 2 years on, I think we've had about 50 days away in it. So yeah, if I had rented a motorhome for 50 days, we wouldn't have been in front at all. But yeah, we've paid a lot of this off. I hope to pay this off by the time I retire, which isn't too long away. And me and my little mate here and my beautiful wife will be chuffing off around the countryside in this loving life. As I said, this is a really good little base model motorhome. This is the Jayco RM 20.5, Jayco Conquest RM 20.5. There is another one, an equivalent to this, which is the Windsor Daintree. I haven't got any photos of a Windsor Daintree, but RV Travelling Husbands, another YouTube channel. RV Travelling Husbands, they're another YouTube channel. They've got one. It's very similar to this, slightly different layout and possibly even slightly better quality, but it's worthwhile jumping over to their channel and having a squiz at that one. Both really good little vans. I highly recommend either. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing with others. Any questions or feedback, please leave them in the comments section below. Once again, thanks again for watching and safe travels everyone. Bye bye.